On today's show,
we discuss what Phil Jackson hopes to accomplish by taking another public shot at Melo.
In Crossfire, we debate the most impressive current winning streak, the best unexpected success story, and the game of the season so far.
And the Nuggets' Fat Lever joins us to discuss the art of the triple-double.
It's Wednesday, February 8th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to The Starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast, joining us live right now on NBA TV, or later on YouTube, we're very, very happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tess Mellis.
Happy hump day, friends.
To his right, the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily.
And last, certainly not least, it's the bearded net one, Butcher Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! What's up, Butcher man?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters, and we're talking beef on the show here today. And what's beef? Well, for us four, it's interpersonal beefs rather than actual beefs. But we've got an actual beef question for you at home. What's your favorite cut of NBA beef? Because let me tell you, there's a bunch of classics. Like, for instance, T-Bone Steakalosha, which is simultaneously the best and worst pun we've ever made on this show. Always happy to see it come back. But there's more, like for instance, the Beef Wennington, which is an actual product sold at Chicagoland McDonald's in the late 90s. And who can forget the Allen Rib Iverson, which a lot of people say is the toughest little steak in the chop house.
Oh, yeah.
Nonetheless, we want to hear from you, so let us know on Twitter what's your favorite cut of NBA beef. Send us your tastiest tweets to #TheStarters. Maybe Lee will check him, he's loving it.
Yeah, Lee, you're loving it.
Beef Wennington, man. What a...
Beef puns, eh? I like 'em. All right, look, we got a really fun show tonight. Nuggets legend Fat Lever is going to join us in studio. That's going to be a blast. And Tass and I will go head-to-head in Crossfire. But we start with a trip back to the butcher shop, where Trey has a fine selection of beefs he'd like to try and sell us. And of course, we're talking NBA beefs here. Trey, what do you got for us?
Well, Skeets, this beef here is a beauty. We keep it in stock every year around this time, and we've got a lot of it. Phil Jackson versus Carmelo Anthony. It comes from a farm in upstate New York where all the cows are peyote fed. This is gorgeous stuff. You guys buying this beef?
I'm buying a lot of
buying
that
this
beef.
beef?
Oh, I'm buying that beef.
Yeah.
Kevin Ding of Bleacher Report recently wrote an article. The thrust of it basically was Carmelo Anthony just doesn't want it enough, doesn't want to win enough. And that made Phil Jackson jump on his Twitter account. First time in 6 weeks, Phil Jackson tweeted, "Bleacher's Ding almost rings the bell, okay, but I learned you don't change the spot on a leopard with Michael Graham in my CBA days, D-A-Z-E." Okay, a cute tweet from Phil. Graham was a player of Phil's with the Albany Patroons back in the 80s in the CBA, and basically he's saying that I guess Melo doesn't want enough, but what is Phil Jackson trying to accomplish with this? Because obviously he's trolling his best player. That just made me think, I mean, does he realize that he's the president and this doesn't help Carmelo Anthony's trade value? I guess not. Does he want to be fired? I don't think Phil Jackson really cares about money all that much. Or just does he not want, or does he want Melo maybe to become a better player and this might help him?
That's going to work?
No, it's not.
Tweeting that?
That's why I have no
insane.
answers.
Yeah,
I
no,
think those
right.
are the three questions you would ask, but I really have no answers. I don't think it's going to help.
I think we need Phil to come out and actually say one way or the other, no, I'm not trading Carmelo, or yes, we are trying to engage in trade talks, because I think this is starting to spill over now to on the court and amongst the team. Courtney Lee was saying the other day they had a pretty intense practice after the embarrassing performance against the Lakers the other night, and these things don't help when the team, which started off well this season, has again sort of fallen into a slump and is going to be struggling to make the playoffs. And really, they have to decide. We are either A, moving on from Melo, or B, we're not. But I think we need to hear something definitive from Phil.
But Melo has the no trade clause.
I understand.
Melo has the power in this very weird relationship.
But Phil could
these guys.
end this sort of speculation as well by saying, listen, all those reports about me trying to trade him, not true. I've spoken to Melo. He wants to stay. He's got a no trade. End of conversation.
It's too late for that. Honestly, it's too late for that.
You think?
There have been many, I think, pretty reputable sources saying they've engaged with the Cavs, they've engaged with the Celtics, they've engaged with the Clippers to try and find a spot to trade Carmelo Anthony. But you're right, doing this sure doesn't help what those teams are going to end up offering to the New York Knicks. They know you want to get rid of him. Like, even if you concede what Phil Jackson is saying about Melo, what this article is saying about Melo, and Phil Jackson is doubling down on, and you think, you truly believe, yeah, maybe he's not the superstar that he once was, and maybe he never was even that big of a superstar. Even if you concede that point, you're still the team president. You still are calling out your best player, a guy you're trying to trade who also has the no trade clause. What are you doing? And I think Woj tweet or had an article today. If anything, this just might make Melo say, well, I don't want to go anywhere. Like, to stick it to Phil Jackson in the way and see if you can get Phil Jackson to maybe quit.
Well, it sure seems like Carmelo Anthony loves it in New York no matter what the situation is, and that he may stay there regardless. It's just odd because you said Phil Jackson is the team's president. It just doesn't feel that way watching the way he's operating. It really makes very little sense. I mean, Rex Chapman, 12-year NBA veteran, was the VP of player personnel with the Nuggets for a long time while Carmelo Anthony was there. And he said here on NBA TV set recently that Carmelo Anthony needs to be the second or third best player because he isn't that type of leader. But that being said, if he doesn't want to kick his trade kicker, he doesn't want to move on or kick that no trade clause, then he's going to be there. I just never seen anything like this before. The only thing that it sort of reminds me of is Baron Davis and Donald Sterling in Los Angeles, where Baron Davis said that Donald Sterling heckled him from his courtside seats. He said if he were in layup lines and he wasn't around, I'd be in a great mood. But as soon as he walked into the arena, I get the worst anxiety I ever had playing. I couldn't do it. I couldn't find a way to function because he thought that Donald Sterling hated him. I mean, that's some crazy stuff. But I mean, have you ever seen something like this before? Otherwise, I mean,
no. I mean, I guess the only difference there, Donald's the owner, whereas Phil's just the GM here. But again, I just think
you're trolling your own player.
I think just to the point earlier, I think that Phil can even sort of admit, okay, we were trying to trade him, but we've had a chalk and it's not going to happen. Just to end the speculation, because I think you can end it by saying this is it. No trade. We're not trading him. It doesn't going to happen. So don't even ask me anymore.
Well, that's a whole other part of this. I mean, Phil Jackson won't even go and talk to the media about any of this, and suddenly comes out of nowhere and is tweeting about a Bleacher Report article from Kevin Ting. That's also weird.
Hashtag never tweet.
Hashtag never tweet. I guess so. All right. I guess we're buying that beef. What else you got for us?
Well, I've actually got something real special for you guys here in the back.
Whoa.
Kind of keep it hidden from the normal customers, but you guys are gonna like this. Our choicest beef of the year: Durant versus Westbrook.
Wow.
No doubt the most popular beef. Do you see this marbling? We sourced it from both Oklahoma and Oakland. People really torn though on the best way to cook it. You buying this beef?
Buying this beef.
I wouldn't mind a slice of it. I don't want the whole part of it though.
Yeah,
I got a knife over here.
Because I think obviously
you're supposed to say something. You're Australian. He says, I have a knife over here.
That's not a knife. Anyway, because obviously I think what happened, Westbrook's feelings were hurt. But I also think that, again, Kevin Durant spent 9 seasons in Oklahoma City. He doesn't owe anybody anything. He didn't betray anybody. He just made a personal business decision. And I think that the media, including ourselves in this sort of scenario, we love this sort of drama. We want it to be more dramatic than it really is. I think, because we've seen guys leave other guys before. And I think what we're going to do, what we're going to see in the long run, these two guys will become friends. They're going to be all-stars, teammates in a couple of weeks' time. I think you're going to see them be okay with each other.
Yeah, that's why it's fake beef. Call it what it is. It's tofu. We don't want that. I don't want that. I know you're calling it special beef. It looks all right from over here, but I'm not.
It's a nice beef.
Yeah.
It's a real nice beef.
I don't like the way you're tapping with that knife. I'm not eating it. This isn't beef to me.
Well, hold on. This might be a 50-50 blend here with this beef here. We don't know what's in it. Yeah, exactly.
Meat?
I get that maybe Durant looks at it and goes, this is the media. They're drumming this up. Let's just move on. I'm playing well in the Warriors. Westbrook's obviously averaging a triple-double. We're playing great. But from Westbrook's side of things, I think this is a beef, and he hasn't proven otherwise. I mean, we've had many. We had the cupcake Instagram.
It takes two sides to beef.
We had just recently, when they played them in the last game, the whole Zaza Pachulia moment where Westbrook says, oh, I'll get him back for the hard foul. Many other things where Westbrook, I mean, you can argue, you might be able to convince me this is all a show from Westbrook to sell some shoes and to build his brand. I don't really think so, though. I think he's legitimately upset with KD and how he left and sort of their relationship and how broken it was after that. They haven't even talked.
Yeah, but for me, that's not really Kevin Durant's problem if Westbrook's upset. Like I say, he didn't betray anybody. He was out of contract. He was a free agent, and he chose to make that decision. He doesn't need to say, hey, Russ, do you mind if I go and join the Warriors? If Russ is angry at it, he has to just be like, oh, well,
so you need both parties involved.
Yeah, you ever cook the steak by yourself? It's never as enjoyable. No. You know, you always want to share it with someone.
That's a fair point. All right. Final one here.
Sure.
Well, I got one more option for you guys. It's a tri-tip. We get it from all over the place. Boston, Washington, D.C., Portland. We call it Lillard versus Isaiah Thomas and John Wall. It's tasty, but you gotta set some time out to cook it. You buying this beef?
No.
Come on, man.
There's no beef here.
Come get this.
You can't even make a hot dog with this crappy beef. What is the beef?
Damian Lillard came out and said it yesterday.
I mean, he's been asked about it by everyone.
Yeah, he did. And he said that this was my original idea, which it's 100% true. We talked about it yesterday. The watch, it's Lillard time.
Have we checked? We've checked the last 50 years of NBA footage
obviously.
to make sure no one's ever pointed at the wrist.
Obviously what's old
First
is
time.
new again. It
Yeah.
definitely could have came back, but Isaiah Thomas is doing it. So is John Wall. And Damian Lillard tweeted yesterday, listen, I think it's funny how everyone's doing it, but they don't give me the credit. It's
Cite your
his.
sources.
It's his. Yeah.
So when you do it, you have to just say,
Damian Lillard. You have to mouth Damian Lillard.
Come on.
It's like when we see with the finger wag, they say, I'm doing the Mutombo. You know, you just got to cite.
Well, they don't yell that out loud
but
while they're doing
afterwards,
it.
You know, people know it's the Mutombo.
Oh, yeah, they always yell, Dick Mbe.
All right. Great beef, Butcher.
All right, and you guys can come over tonight. I'm going to be putting this broil in the oven about 7:30, 450 for 2 hours, maybe 2.5, depending how juicy you want it. Great caramelization.
Can't wait. All right. Coming up next, Nuggets legend Fat Lever is going to join us live on set to talk triple doubles and so much more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Starters, where we're honored to be joined by Denver Nuggets legend Fat Lever. Fat, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, but at the same time, you know what I'm mad about? Some love.
It's Fat time.
There you go.
It's Fat time.
We're on it.
It's
We're on
Fat
it.
time.
We're on
You
it.
used to pull that out?
No, I just saw it for the first time with you guys. I use it.
I thought we were going to have to tell Lillard that's Fat's move.
Little times doesn't sound nice as fat time.
That's absolutely true. Totally true. Look, like I said, it's an honor to have you on here. This is great timing, especially this season with what's going on in the NBA. All these guys putting up triple doubles because I don't know the young kids out there know you were one of the OGs when it came to the triple double. I still think you're top 10. You're thinking around 8th in career triple doubles. You were putting up a ton in the late 80s, mainly on the Nuggets. What you're seeing this year from guys like Westbrook and Harden especially, and Westbrook even averaging a triple-double, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Did you ever think it was possible to do what Big O did back in 61-62 and what Westbrook's at least achieving right now?
No, never.
Never.
But I love it. Love it because it's bringing it back. It's bringing back the triple doubles, the numbers that are, you know, what Oscar did, thought would never be repeated as far as averaging a triple double. But now there's a chance. And the way these guys are getting the triple doubles from LeBron, who started it most recently, then to James Harden. But Russell, they're doing it getting 50 points. You know, when you get a 10, 10, 10, that's nice.
Right.
You get 15, 13, 12, it's even better. Come on now. 40.
It's wild.
12.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
50. 10. 15.
It's
That's
nuts.
even a lot better. So I'm happy for him because it goes back to the old days of just playing hard basketball, and those numbers come for you.
When you were playing and you were racking up those triple doubles, were you aware of the numbers at the time? Were you gunning for them?
Come on, we didn't even have the stat sheets coming down.
You didn't even know.
In the arena, so we didn't have the billboards. So no, you never knew about it, but at the end of the game, you would. But these guys, they can see them during the course of the game, and because it's so materialized and so socialized now, if they sit on a stat, they're close, they're going for it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that brings it back. And now, if you're doing it that way and you're losing ball games, not the right reason.
Right.
But if you're just going out getting them because you're playing hard, and all of a sudden someone tells you, hey, you 1 assist away from a triple-double.
How were you able to be such an effective rebounder for not only your size, but the position you played?
I go back to my high school days. I played on a high school team. We had no one over 6'4" on our team.
Right.
And everyone played all positions. So I was a rebounder. I was a guard. We went into the 1-4 spread offense that Coach Dean Smith had, so I got to play the point guard, get the rebounds. So I played all over the court. And, we won 2 back-to-back state championships, small school in Tucson, Arizona, but at the same time, that's where it develops. You learn it on the playground, you learn it somewhere, and it just carries over through your career. And this happens to be in the NBA.
I like to ask this question of guys who obviously finished their career not the way they wanted to because an injury may have cut their career short. You see all these guys resting these days. If you had that option back in your day, do you think that would have helped you out and potentially prolonged your career?
I go back to a saying, I was playing against the Lakers, against Magic Johnson. We were going back and forth on triple doubles. And during the course of the game, or right after the game, Magic came and says, I don't know how long you're going to last because you take a lot more wear and tear on your body than I do because of the size. And you never think about that. You just go out and play. So I think certain guys have to rest their bodies if they're playing lots of minutes. I always say Doug Moe would always give each starter one preseason game off. And then over the course of the season, he would kind of manage you.
Right.
And then in practice, if you weren't going, if you want to take the time off, you do it. But the coach and the players really have to manage that. And now you got great training staffs and medical staffs that can monitor it too.
So people were doing it before Popovich was even doing it.
He's the master. He's been doing it a long time, and he's a master of a lot of things. And I think he's did it before, but now it's just becoming more prevalent because he's coming out saying it now.
You brought up Magic. Who was the toughest guy
Isaiah.
you ever played? Isaiah Thomas.
Easy question.
Hands down.
Isaiah Thomas, without question.
Because of his speed, his tenacity. What was
Competitiveness, his grit, his grind, the things that he did on the court, and his mindset. He was not going to lose no matter what. There's an old video floating around of my days in Portland. Looked like the Harlem Globetrotters. I'm chasing him around trying to take the ball from him, and he's just dribbling around like Marcus Haynes. Let's forget about that, but he's still the toughest player.
That we can't thank you enough for coming on. If you want to catch more of that, you can on an upcoming edition of The Art of the Triple-Double. This new series premieres every Monday night on Game Time here on NBA TV. Fat, thanks so much. Fat Time was great.
Thank you, guys. I love it. Love that.
Quick break. When we come back, Tess and I go head-to-head in Crossfire. Don't go anywhere.
Crossfire, this is how it works. Trey will give Skeetsby 3 topics. We'll debate each one. At the end of it all, Trey will declare a winner. Trey, what's our first topic?
All right, round one. You probably wouldn't guess it, but the Heat, Pacers, and Celtics are the only team in the league currently rocking a winning streak longer than 3 games. Guys, tell me which team has the most impressive winning streak? Here we go.
Has to be the Miami Heat, who have somehow won 11 straight games after dropping 10 of 11 prior to that. And they're still way under 500, 8 games under 500. Just sort of mind-boggling. This trio of Dragic, Whiteside, and Dion Waiters, they're on fire. And they've beat some good teams as well. They took down the Warriors, the Rockets, 11 straight games for the Miami Heat. That is insane. I don't know what's going on. It's got to be them.
I'm taking the Indiana Pacers because nobody's talking about them. No one. And I'm a Pacers truther. I love talking about this team. They're on a 7-game win streak. I didn't realize it until this morning. And they're 1 game back of the Wizards and 2 of the Raptors. Quite quietly, they could grab some home court advantage. And we know Paul George is that sort of traditional superstar that we know. He's just getting warm. This is what he does.
Yeah,
he is getting warm for the playoffs. He's only getting better, and he can win a playoff series on his own. I think more so than any other player outside of the Cavs.
But it's one thing for Paul George to do it. It's another thing for Dion Waiters to catch fire over the last couple weeks. Paul George is a superstar. I agree.
Yeah, he were very injured to start the year. I think that's part of it.
All right. Round 2 coming up. Thanks to double-digit scoring in 5 of the 6 games he's played, the Mavericks' Yogi Ferrell turned a 10-day contract into a multi-year deal with the team. He has been awesome out of nowhere. But guys, tell me, what is your favorite unexpected success story? Here we go.
It's got to be Linsanity. Just like Yogi Ferrell, Jeremy Lin toiling in the D-League, getting cut after team after team. It was so bad. January 7, 2012, he told a chaplain to pray for him that he wouldn't be cut by the New York Knicks. Because if he was cut, he may not play basketball again. Then all of a sudden, what we're watching here, he exploded on the scene in 2012. Every headline, every game, winner after winner after winner. And also the fact that he's Asian American and they don't have a history in the NBA of doing well whatsoever. Jeremy Lin came out of nowhere.
That's a good pick. My favorite unexpected success story is probably the starters.
Yeah,
but if I have to go with an NBA player, I'm going to go with Isaiah Thomas. Because this guy was selected 60th in the 2011 draft. He was traded from the Kings to the Suns and then from the Suns to the Celtics. And now at 5'9", has really taken over the NBA for stretches, obviously winning Player of the Week honors, scoring nearly 30 a game, taking over fourth quarters. This guy was the last pick. That is unbelievable.
Jeremy Lin was
Mr.
not picked.
Irrelevant. No, he wasn't. But a guy for 5'9" to be doing what he's doing, I go IT.
All right. Final round here, and it's a close one, guys. My close friend J.E. Skeets tweeted last night that the NBA is on a roll, and after incredible games the past 2 nights, I think he's on to something. Guys, I need to know, what's the best game of the season so far? Here we go!
Yeah, luckily there's a lot to pick from. I'm going to go with the Cavs Wizards that we got this week, though. Going into overtime, Cavs pulling it out, 140 to 135. LeBron hitting the unbelievable fadeaway 3, falling into the front row to put it into overtime, and then Kyrie took over. I liked that Wall and Beal on a national stage sort of said, hey, we're for real. You know, we won a lot of games in a row at home. The Cavs snapped it, but we can put up a challenge. So I go that Cavs-Wizards game. Go back and watch that fourth quarter, and that overtime's unbelievable.
I think it's Cavs-Warriors Christmas Day. After 6 months of 3-1 jokes, the Cavs came back from another big deficit in the fourth quarter, a 13-point deficit in the fourth quarter. This game didn't need OT. Like yours, in the first half.
What's wrong with free basketball?
It was literally like the NBA Finals had been extended. We got a Kyrie game winner over Klay Thompson. Then we had Durant falling with the help of Richard Jefferson because he was trying to win the game. And everybody was watching on Christmas Day. The beautiful Christmas Day afternoon game that everyone was sitting in front of their dinner with their family. Probably put their plate down and watch the game.
Okay, we're break it
Today's
down.
winner, Tess Mellis! From Linsanity to Mellis Mania, get on board.
Wow. Interesting. All right, we gotta take one more break. When
wrote
we
that?
come back,
That's a freestyle, dog.
Bailey's very solid play. Don't go anywhere. We asked you, what's your favorite cut of NBA beef? And the puns, oh, they went crazy. Hashtag the starters, Trey, some answers.
They're flying. Jose says Brent T-Bone Berry goes great with salad. Jeremy says Sirloinus Marshallonis is the best in town. I like it. CT Raptors fan says Fred Hoiberger. Delicious. Gary says Timberwolves coach Prime Ribideau.
That's good.
Nice one. Massaban says Rodney Carney Asada. Shout out to the Rodney Carney fans out there. Kalchuk took it another way, saying this question's unfair to vegetarians who might say Dirk Nowitzki.
Nice.
Well played.
Oh, good
Well
stuff.
played indeed.
Keep those puns coming. Let's look at tonight's pick and play. It's the Heat and the Bucks. The Heat are on an 11-game winning streak, and we say, who cares? Everybody likes Milwaukee to snap the streak.
Give me some of that venison.
Yeah, that's right. Lily, very solid play.
Heading out to Charlotte for a nice play from the Hornets. Bippy Roberts gets it started. Through to Miles Plumlee, who drops it down there to Marvin Williams. Beautiful finish. That's what I call a very solid play.
Very, very solid. Lee, we had a whole bunch of fan signs yesterday. We couldn't sneak one in. We ran out of time. but we
Yeah,
got
and
time.
it's the most creative one we've probably seen. Check this out. This is not it.
What?
Well, this is it.
What?
It says, it comes from Tennis TSC, who says, when no one else gets the memo about your starters fan sign. Wow. Look at all those faces.
All right, that's it for us. Again, thanks to Fat Lever for joining us on tonight's show. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, hairnets work best when you don't cut them, but that knife is plastic.
Praise the night, people.